what do they call themselves today? Because they keep going.
LDS. They're no longer Mormons.
Okay.
They LDS.
They're no longer Mormons.
Yeah.
They're still Mormons. Latter-day Saints. They mentioned to him, hey, Bernice, you need to meet with the guards, and Bernice knows them. And I was like, wow, this is just like something divine happening here. And they have been our strongest supporters. And as a result of their involvement, all of the other wealthy families in Salt Lake have joined us. So this is what we're talking about. Most times, I won't say most times, we support each other some, but it's hard to get white folks to support us and invest in us, particularly in the financial arena. And so this is very powerful that this is a bank that's going to be owned and led by black people that white wealthy people are supporting as well.
And let me do the deal flow on this. Clap for that really quickly. The woman is a king. She sits at the head of a movement that all of us need to refocus our minds. And if you don't follow her on Instagram, please do. She's diving into everything possible that you do hear about. But this is a unique opportunity. We got one shot at this. After George Floyd was assassinated, they announced $50 billion of money that was supposed to go to us. So many jobs were created as DEI heads, and how many of them don't have jobs now? All these things have happened. We can't let history look back at what happened with George Floyd and we had nothing to show for it. This is our chance to say we had an institution that we built together. When you have civil rights icons like Dr. King and young brothers who created InvestFest and some of our most brilliant minds all on the same cap table, because we understood that that's the new table. The new table that you want to sit around, ask your neighbor, what cap table are you around? That's where you need to be.
I love that. Y'all can clap for that.
Invest, and everybody can see a ticker that reflects our hopes and aspirations. But the only way you can own an NBA team is you gotta wait on them to sell. And the only way really NBA teams sell is somebody says something racist. That's the only way to get out. So some white dude says something super crazy and then they come in and they take the team. Well, that happened in Atlanta and we got a new owner. But to this owner's credit, Tony Ressler, he goes to the King Center and others and say, how can I be a part of Atlanta? And so when you watch the Hawks play, it used to have ATL, but now it's got MLK on some of the jerseys, and that goes to support Dr. King's work. That's an Atlanta story. But part of also what Tony did was he says, during COVID, we had State Farm Arena was this giant arena that wasn't being used, but black people were passing out and being heat strokes outside trying to vote. So we turned into the largest voting precinct in the country because this is Atlanta. And when you talk about banking, and Tony Ressler, with the help of our good friend Thad Sheely, we said, look, you're about to build this new practice arena. It's this new thing where all the players are going to be there, and you're attaching a hospital to it so if they get hurt, they can get orthopedic surgery and recover all in one spot in Brookhaven. And so we asked them, would you be willing to let black people finance this arena? And here's the thing, and this is a story not just about what we did, but this happens to us every day. The first thing anybody questions is our ability. Can we do it? Are we smart enough? Do we have the resources to do it? And when you show up to that conversation, you just can't say you can, you gotta show the receipts. Because the reality is success has receipts. If you are my friend, and you want to know if I'm successful because you better be successful. My receipts are your success. And so we were able to show that as black professionals, we've been doing the work, we just never had a chance. And so what Tony gave us a chance to do is say, look, he said, Ashley, there's no black bank big enough to do this deal. And I said, you're right, but we can do it together. We can go get every black bank in this country, pool our resources as a people, and we can finance this. And then he said, well, actually, no billionaires are walking in black banks to be underwritten NBA teams. They don't know how to underwrite an NBA team. I said, that's fine, we'll teach them. And we created a foundation to teach every black bank that wanted to be a part of this. Let me show you how an NBA team works. Because the reality is, sports makes all of that money off the bodies and talent of black and brown people anyway. So we need to help you invest in your product because we're the ones creating the wealth. And I guarantee you, if you spend 10% as much time as you do recruiting our best ball players as our black minds, we wouldn't be here in the first place. With MLS, soccer.
Major League Soccer, right. So, and this is not directly with Redemption. This is with the National Black Bank Foundation, which we can talk a little bit more about. I have a relationship with the Chief Diversity Officer there. I picked up the phone and I said, look, we have an initiative that we want to get you all on board to support for the black banks, you know, because we've been working to try to increase the revenue of black banks so that we can compete for some of the bigger opportunities. Because right now, what is it? No black bank can lend more than...
It's a sad number. The biggest black bank in our country can only give a loan for $15 million.
So in order for us to compete, we had to figure out how to create an umbrella organization, the Black Bank, National Black Bank Foundation, so that those organizations, those banks can work together to compete for these opportunities. So we approached Major League Soccer as one of them. But it started really right after the unfortunate thing that happened with George Floyd. And Ashley and one of our classmates in leadership, Atlanta, a white gentleman that was with the Hawks, started talking about what can we do that makes a real impact. Because everybody, you know, protesting, they're upset, but how can we move the needle? And so they started this relationship, and I'm gonna toss it back to you because...
But that relationship's key.